Well, thank you, Nancy and Rukma. Good morning, everyone. Without any delay, let's have a look at the top lines in the finance world first. Government plans to launch an electronics development fund soon with a corpus of 10,000 crore rupees to provide financial assistance to firms for electronic manufacturing. The fund, housed with CanBank Venture Capital Fund, will start this month with an initial corpus of 2,500 crore rupees, and the rest will be raised from various resources. Foreign direct investment in the country grew by 13% to $16.63 billion during the April-September period of the current fiscal. It was $14.69 billion during the same period in the last fiscal, according to the latest figures released by the Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion, DIPP. Government is working on a policy to boost investments in the petroleum sector in the northeast region. They are planning to come up with a new exploration policy there. Additional Secretary in the Oil Ministry, UP Singh, said the new policy formulation will be announced by 15th December. Government announces fixing of selling price for 530 essential drugs linked to AIDS, cancer and diabetes. By fixing the maximum price, buyers would collectively save around 2,422 crore rupees. Moody's Investor Service says India is showing signs of recovery in the investment levels. The company said the recent figures show that the investment cycle is improving based on the reforms and the actions taken by the government. Oil companies have cut jet fuel prices by 526 crore rupees per litre, while the price of non-subsidized gas cylinders has increased by 61 rupees 50 paise. This is in line with the global trend in prices. This is the third consecutive month when prices have been reduced. And the first non-stop flight from India to the Silicon Valley, more precisely from New Delhi to San Francisco in the United States, takes off a short while ago. Air India to fly thrice a week, direct flight between New Delhi and San Francisco. San Francisco is Air India's fourth direct destination in the United States. Well, those are the top lines. And the Reserve Bank of India has maintained the status quo in the monetary policy review yesterday. Let's have a look at those details in this report.
Reserve Bank of India today kept the key interest rate unchanged as widely expected in view of rise in retail inflation to 4-month high and likelihood of capital outflows on a possible US Fed rate hike later this month. The Reserve Bank left the benchmark lending rate, that is repo rate, at 6.75%.
We will follow developments on commodity prices, especially food and oil, even while tracking inflationary expectations and external developments. Of course, the implementation of the pay commission proposals and its effects on wages and rents will also be a factor as we consider policy in the future.
The cash reserve ratio, or the amount of deposits bank park with RBI, has also been left unchanged at 4%. Uptick of CPI inflation, excluding food and fuel, for 2 months in succession warrants vigilance.
We've highlighted some of the sources of risks going forward. One could imagine that there could be downside risks from, say, commodity prices, especially oil. But of course, given where oil is produced, there are also potentially upside risks if there are political events that constrain the supply of oil.
Steps taken by the central bank and the government should help lenders clean up their balance sheets.
Over the span of the next year, I want to put something like March 2017 on the table as when we hope that a full cleanup will have been done.
Rajan said banks have been given more powers and flexibility to deal with the bad loans, which have crossed 6% as of June quarter. While maintaining the status quo, RBI has said that the focus would now be on transmission of the rate cuts, impact of the implementation of the pay commission, and also the impact of the commodity prices, especially food and oil. With camera person Vineet Pednekar, this is Shama Mishra for DD News, Mumbai.
Well, moving on to some interesting news from the Facebook corner. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg and his wife Priscilla Shan are planning to give away 99% of their Facebook shares to charity. And the news comes as the couple also announced the birth of their first child, a daughter named Max. Zuckerberg plans to contribute the funds to the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative, which is intended to advance human potential and promote equality for all. Well, moving on to the market segment, where the markets across the globe have their trading currently. To begin with the Asian markets, have started on pretty much a greener note, taking cues from the global markets. Now, Asian markets, the Nikkei, Hang Seng, Shanghai Composite and SGX Nifty were all up by 0.24 to 1.75%. Good news, because these positive cues might be reflecting the Indian markets as well. And looking at the US markets yesterday have closed on a green note again. Dow Jones was up by almost 0.95% there. S&P 500 up by 1.07% and Nasdaq again up by 0.93%. On the European market side, there is slightly a mixed story there. FTSE 100 is up by 39 points. We can say pretty much flat end there. But the German DAX was down by almost 1.06%, shedding 121 points. And to come back to the Indian markets have ended on a flat note. BSE Sensex was up by 24 points, that is a minimum 0.09%, and NSE Nifty was up by 20 points, up by 0.25%. And then moving on to the currency news, the rupee story against major currencies in the international level. To begin with the rupee story against dollar, it is up by down by 0.18 levels to close at 66.49. And then the rupee story against euro, if you look at that, rupee against euro is down by a marginal 0.01 levels to close at 70.61. And rupee story against yen, it's pretty much flat but ended on a greener note. It is currently around 0.5408 levels, up by almost 0.0008. And on the commodity market side, if we look at the Brent crude price in the international markets, the Brent crude in the international markets is trading around $44.44 per barrel, down by almost 0.10 cents. And gold in India per 10 grams is down by 92 rupees to close around 24,977 rupees. And also the silver in the Indian market is down by almost 195 rupees per kg to close at 33,285. Well, the commodity prices across the globe are falling, and that is actually reflecting on the Indian commodity prices as well. Well, that's all in the finance world. Once again, back to Nancy and Rukma.
Well, thanks, Venkat. Very